Well, here I am with some good friends that I've met a couple of months ago. Don't live too far from you guys. Mervy and Kimmo, thanks very much for taking the time to have a chat today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for the invitation.
Now, this is our second time around. We did an interview a couple of days ago and we had some technical issues, so here we go again. So apologies for that.
No problem. The weather was a bit better, so
yeah.
Now we see the reality in Paraguay.
See.
So it can be cold.
It's not always that warm.
No. And people will be quite surprised to learn that we are in Paraguay because it looks more like we're in Finland at the moment.
Yeah, it's almost as cold as in Finland. Of course, the weather is like in Finland during the summer now, so we have about 16, 17 Celsius here, but it feels even colder. So.
Because it's cold inside.
See.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to catch up and have a chat because we're doing a video series. I think we've spoken to you about it. Property in Paraguay, just getting around talking to people who have had experience with building or buying properties or looking for properties in any way related to the issue of property in Paraguay. And you guys have been through the system, you've purchased land and you're in the process of building. So can I just firstly ask, how long have you been in Paraguay for?
We have been here for about 15 months now.
Yeah, 1 year and 5 months.
And in that time you've purchased land and you're in the process of building?
Yes, we purchased land, but we lived in different locations in Paraguay in order first to know where we want to live or settle down in the future. And we lived in one city called Caguasu, then in one place called Viedo, south of Asunción, and then a couple of months near Asunción in these suburbs, Fernando de la Mora and Luque. And then we decided to come to Cacupe, and we like this area. It's a bit many hills over here, and then we decided seriously buy land here, and then later on decided also that we want to stay here for a longer time and build a house on that.
Actually, we were first looking for a house too, and we found one, but it was not suitable for us. And what I have been saying that was quite funny, we went to the broker for the first time and said, yeah, we are getting slowly to look for a place here. And then a couple of weeks later we were signing the papers, so
oh, wow.
It wasn't so slowly.
Yeah,
but when you find the right place, then just go for it.
Yeah, because you haven't mucked around. I mean, a year and 5 months. It may sound like a lot of time, but at the same time, when you've purchased a property and you're well advanced in building, that's really a good rate of knots compared to a lot of people. We've been here for over 9 months and we're still, in the process of looking for property. So congratulations for getting a gallop on.
Well, thanks. There are also people who right away after they came to the country, so bought land and started building. So it's a bit.
But actually, we did it. Yeah, we did it in 9 months too, because we came here at the end of December, and then in September we started looking for a place.
Yeah. And you purchased your land through a broker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might have. Find land cheaper if you are not having the broker, so you might hire a local Paraguayan asking land here and then make a contract without the broker. So it might be possible, but in our case we found this land which we found, this land which we saw together with the broker, ideal for us, and then we thought that no, we don't need to look for land anymore. So this is the perfect place for us. And I think it's like with a house, when you are looking for a house or apartment, so you go through different alternatives, and at one occasion you realize that this particular apartment is mine. Yeah. There's no matter whether it's a bit more expensive than the others, but you feel it. So
there's this famous click.
Yeah. Well, we say that we don't think that we're going to find the property's going to find us. And I know that might sound a bit woo-woo, but we really feel that we're still waiting for that perfect match. So you guys found it, and that's great.
Yeah, and also afterwards we noticed that this has this good thing, and this is good, and this is good, and so it was. At the beginning, we thought that okay, this is good place, but it's even better than we first thought.
Oh, that's great. That's what you want.
And actually, before we came to Paraguay, our goal was to at least buy land, so just for the future. So even though we would have left Paraguay, we would have had some land here. So it's just a kind of plan B or something like that for the future. So
yeah, because the land doesn't run away.
Yeah.
No.
It's always there.
Yeah, and without going to specific details, we're somewhere in between Carcupe and the Tierra, which is a really sweet spot in our view. We think that's a really lovely
you can
area.
get the benefits of Carcupe and Atira.
Yeah.
And also the distance to Asunción is not too far. So 1 hour, 1.5 hours you are in Asunción or in San Lorenzo.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how much land do you have approximately?
Yeah, we have 4 hectares at the moment.
Yeah, that's a good size.
Yeah, it's a good size. We were actually in the beginning looking for the lots with 1 hectare, but it was difficult to find such lots. So then we were kind of forced to buy these 4 hectares, and so that we buy 4 hectares, and later on we sell rest 2 or 3 hectares to somebody else. So this we don't need.
Yeah, and you did very well to buy in a area that doesn't have a lot of lotification, a lot of cookie-cutter sized pieces of land that they've divided up, and that's often an issue around here, that you buy a piece of land like this and you've got a whole lot of sections that have been sold off waiting to be turned into weekenders or something like that.
Yeah, and it's difficult. So if you have this buy your land in such a section, so you don't know what kind of neighbors you have. So in the future, so the Paraguayans like loud music. So we have nothing against Paraguayans themselves, but it's nice to be in an area where the music is really not that high. So.
And the fact that you've got a reasonable sized piece of land, you've been able to choose the area that you're building on that probably best suits you in terms of your relationship to neighbours and things. You haven't had to build right next to them, which is a real feature of buying a bigger bit of land.
Exactly. So you can choose the place where you build your house, and so that it's not too close to the neighbours. Even though this land which we bought, there are plenty of spots where you can build your.
And you can change everything else, but where you have your house, it's then there. You change it. Don't change it afterwards.
No, and your site is really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's such a lovely spot that you've chosen to build there. It's got a lovely vista, and so congratulations for what you've found. It's quite special. And in terms of your building experience, we've been to the site. Your building is clearly a superior construction to what I've seen in a lot of situations. So you found a really good builder here. How did you come across him?
It was together with our friends. So since we have been living in different areas here, so we have learned to know some people here also in Paraguay. And we learned to know one German couple in Villeta, and through their contacts we found this construction company which is doing houses for the Europeans here. Since Paraguayans, they are not typical Paraguayan houses do not have such a nice foundation, and the humidity is then coming to the inside of the house. And as we are now living actually in a typical Paraguayan house, and we have this humidity problem here. But these construction companies who are used to the requirements of the Europeans, they understand the need to have a really solid fountain in the houses, and it's of course a bit more expensive, but it's worth to invest.
Definitely. Yeah, and yours is double skinned, double brick walls?
Yeah, that's true. Actually, we had 4 constructions from whom we asked a offer. 2 of them were Germans and 2 of them were Paraguayans. The Germans were pretty slow to give an offer, and I think they have hands full otherwhere. And then the other Paraguayan said that we can do that, and then we had Antonio left, and I have been really, really happy with him and his work and his people.
And did you find much variance in price, the quoted price?
No, there are some variants. It's more or less the same prices, and but it depends if you have these double bricks in your walls in the house, and then the price is getting more expensive.
Of course.
And but you can also usually, to our understanding, it's so that if you buy the package price, so per square meter, there's the price defined in the contract. So these prices are a bit higher than if you would do it by yourself, looking for the materials by yourself and having somebody supervising the construction site. Maybe you can save there even quite substantial amount of money, but you need to know what you are doing. So, and I would say that once, if you have experience of building the house, and you have been here for a while, so it might be worth to see this alternative and try to do it by yourself as much as you can.
Yeah.
At least organizing the materials and so on.
If we did it now, we would be a lot wiser.
Yeah.
Because not every place where you can buy materials are on internet.
No.
You just have to know them, or walk or drive by and see, oh, here is some place selling this or that.
Yeah, yeah. And you guys have made some really good decisions, particularly about your roof structure. Traditionally here it's terracotta tiles and timber. You guys have gone with metal
That's
beams.
called chapas. Was it
metal
chapas?
and
I think, yeah.
Mm.
So it's kind of, it's heavily raining in Paraguay, and in that sense it's really important that you have a good roof.
See.
And so we have experience here in Paraguay, these bricks on the roof, and it's not so nice experience if your roof is really or water is coming through.
Yeah, but the metal is not so nice from inside, so they are now making us a wood paneling under it, because it, from my opinion, it looked pretty awful.
Yeah, that'll look good.
Yeah, because now, for example, we have wood here. It looks nice because it's not so symmetrical. Yeah. But metal is really straight.
Yeah. And what's the schedule like from the time that you've started building to the time that you expect to be in? How long would that have taken?
Usually it depends a lot of the size of the house and what kind of special requirements you have.
And if it's raining a lot or not.
Yeah, so basically for the smaller houses in Paraguay, you can have the house readily made already within 3 months. So if we have maybe 40 square meters, 50 square meters, we have 70 square meters plus 30 square meters on the terrace, and our construction company started the work in January, and we expect to move into the house now at the end of May, so 5-6 months.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good. So they gave, in the contract we have 220 days, so basically a little bit about 6 months. But
and this wood paneling is making 3 more weeks.
Okay.
They have to really make it as a hand.
Yeah. So the good thing in Paraguay is also that once during the construction phase, when you have some additional requirements, you realize that you want to have something more, improvements and so on. So the construction guys are quite flexible in this sense.
Yeah. So you're having a good experience by the sound of it. When you first got here, did you consider pre-existing buildings? Did you look at houses here and consider buying something that was already built?
We looked at one, and it had a really nice garden with all possible fruit trees and so on. But the room order was so impossible. We just thought, it doesn't work. But about the time, where you really save time here is that you don't need any permissions from the authorities. So if you want to build a Taj Mahal, then you build a Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
But I think in Paraguay you can find nice houses with nice land, especially now because during the COVID, plenty of Germans moved to Paraguay, and some people built the houses here, and then realized that Paraguay is nothing for us, and they want to get out of here, or they want to get rid of their nice house and lot. So you might find some good deals here. So if you have time to see those houses and so maybe you can negotiate the price down. That's my personal tip for a person who doesn't want to buy land and then start building, but you can find good quality houses here. So and then just negotiate the prices down. Yeah.
Yeah, as you say, it takes time, doesn't it? You have to come here and be prepared to sift through. It's not as easy to find viable properties here than what it would be perhaps in a lot of places, because the thing that we find is that there aren't a lot of active agents here. There are some good agents, but a lot of them are very difficult to contact and to get them to work the way that you'd like, and so it can take more time than...
Yeah, and then it's also that what kind of neighbors you want to have. So it's also good to learn to know the people here, and you might have an idea so that you want to settle down somewhere where you have nice neighbors and so on. So it's a kind of when you're...
So we are pretty happy with this house, even though it's quite basic, with cold water in the shower and no proper kitchen. But all the Paraguayan neighbors are here near. Almost all of them are relatives with each other. So we got to get to know them, they get to know us, and they are really nice people. So, and our construction site is really near.
And you guys have got a really healthy attitude when it comes to the way that you've come here, because I do see people move here with a bit of a silo approach. They go and buy a property, first thing they do is put a big wall around it, maybe hire one or two people just to do some yard work, and apart from that don't talk to anyone.
It's a kind of, I would say that it's a kind of invitation for outsiders to come and see what kind of stuff I have at home.
So, I have big walls, I have a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a kind of, I don't really like this kind of attitude. So it's a kind of really risky thing here. So you're somewhere in the pampa on the countryside and you have nice walls and so on. So it's really attracting attention from certain people. I think that Paraguay is a safe country, but there are some issues here also, and especially when the people know that you have money in your house. So it's a kind of risk that you get some visitors.
So a really good security policy is to have good relationships with your neighbours.
Dogs and maybe some cameras too. So we are going to have our security cameras anyway in our house, and but the dog must be acquired, and. But also it would be good, now we are a bit separate from the Paraguayan neighbors, and if we get further neighbors in the future, so we plan to do some kind of arrangement that everybody is following each other. So if somebody is not at home, so neighbors are watching.
So just in relation to that, you've got 4 hectares, you've chosen a lovely spot on your land to build, and you've got your area around there, but you're looking to maybe sell some of that off. How many other houses or groups of people would you expect to maybe buy into your property?
We expect to sell 2-3 hectares in the lots of maybe half a hectare or smaller lots, and we expect maybe 3 or 4 neighbors then that would be the idea.
If somebody wants to come.
Yeah. So
I'm
it's a
sure
kind-
they will.
Yeah, so it's a, but we are not actively marketing, so it's a kind of first we need to decide how the lots are going to look like.
And
It takes time, maybe for 1 year before we have
yeah,
the
we need to
lots
have
and
some
the titles.
paperwork.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Since the titles are really
Important.
important. So don't buy land in Paraguay without having a title.
No.
So there are plenty of stories about this. And
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah, then you really know that the land is good and it belongs to the seller and all other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys navigated that process okay? You used a good solicitor and
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We made everything through our broker, so he knows the area, has the contacts, and so we organized everything. So we made first advance payment, and this gave us an access to the lot, and the advance payment was about 10%, and then 3 months later, once we had the title transferred to our name, so the whole land was officially ours.
and what a lot of people ask us about is the issue of paying for property, transferring funds from foreign account and so forth. Was that much of a hassle for you guys?
That was a bit. I would say that it was possible to do it as a bank transfer.
Yeah.
And we made actually when we bought the land, we made the advance payment with check, so that was possible. So we transferred money from Europe to one cooperativa here in Paraguay, and they issued a check, which we then handed over to the seller. That was fine, but a large chunk of the purchase price was paid via bank transfer.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, we had a trust with the seller that everything is fine, and we transferred the money before we got this title, so 1 day before. And then once this seller had it on the bank account, so we signed the papers and everything was fine. So we took the risk there. So you really need to see that case by case what kind of risk you are having there. But the easier way is even better if you want to minimize the risks. You transfer the money to Paraguay, you take cash with you to Paraguay, and then you make the payment of the land.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a kind of 100% secure. So we were willing to take this risk since we know already got to know these people who sold the land to us.
But it goes to the other direction too. So when we had the closing, the Paraguayos, the sellers came to the meeting with the lawyer, because they also had some trust issues with us. If they sign the paper, are they going to get the money and so on? So often we foreigners think that Paraguayos, can we really trust them? But they think that too. If they can trust us because they don't know us, and we can be whatever criminals who come here.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone's still finding their way dealing with these things, aren't they?
Yeah.
Otherwise, then once we started building the house, so we had there are different kinds of contracts that usually the Paraguayan companies, they want to have this advance payment for the materials, since they don't have that much money on their bank account for the working capital purposes and so on. So we paid 40% of the house price to our construction guy, and then in the middle of the construction time we paid rest of the funds. So it's a kind of, there you have also risks here, so you need to really have a kind of company which is trustworthy and has a good reputation. And I think if you do this, build a house with the Germans, so it's a bit easier to sell for later this purchase or this price to the construction company. So they have more funds to fund this construction, and are not really depending on your money to start the work.
But I guess in your case, it sounds like you've struck a good balance of a Paraguayan builder that understands the standards that you want, but you're still dealing with a Paraguayan, which is kind of nice too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a language course.
But it's important that he had a good reputation.
Absolutely.
If you don't know the construction company, so I wouldn't advise you to make like these payments like we did.
No.
So it's no go. So
And we also beforehand visited one construction site in other place of Paraguay where the same company is building, and we asked their experiences and recommendations and so on.
Perfect.
And it's a architect couple, so we thought that okay, we can trust them also. So when they say that Antonio is good, then we know that he is good.
That's great. And in terms of ongoing communication with your builder, I understand you've had a number of conversations with him. Some of those have been quite sort of animated. Maybe there's been nervous moments throughout the build, but it sounds like you've been able to work your way through all that. He's been really attentive by the sounds of it.
Yeah. He has considered our worries always, and explained also if we have had some issues with the construction manners, how they are doing the things. So it has been a good communication anyways.
Yeah, I'm surprised how patient he really has been. Because sometimes it happens that somebody comes to the construction site, a foreigner or something, and gives us some warnings or worries, and then we are panicking and we run to Antonio, help, what is happening here? And then he very calmly and patiently explains why he is doing and what he is doing, and don't worry, tranquilo.
But I would say that it's important that you once you start building the house, so it's always good to have somebody who has experience with building a house in Paraguay, to take a look at the construction site in the beginning, so that you don't have any doubts or so. So it gives you some secured feeling that everything is going to be fine.
And not only in the beginning, but through the whole process you have to be there and watch, because sometimes you have an idea that I want this thing to be here, but they put it here.
Yeah.
For example, tiles can be something else that you think or something. So you really have to go there every day and watch. Yeah, because they are Paraguayans and we are foreigners.
Yeah.
So and especially when we are from Finland, our way of thinking is already different from USA people or from Germans or whatever. So.
You definitely realise the cultural differences when you're doing any business with in Paraguay. An example of that was we had our car repaired recently, and we had discussed some other issue with the car just in passing, that we said, that's something that we might sort of deal with at some stage. Then we got the car back for the repair that we thought we were getting, which he did, but he also did the other thing and charged us for it, although we hadn't really made a decision to do that thing. So you've got to be really certain about the discussions that you have.
Yeah. Or Paraguayans usually prefer to buy the cheapest item. Or not buying such items at all. And one good example in our case was that once we had fixed the water to the house, we noticed that in our water tank was a frog.
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 Oh.
Yeah, frog. Yeah. There was in the water tank was a frog, a small frog, and this water is going to come to our house as a drinking water. So it's not so nice experience. And this guy who was doing this these tubes and so on, so then he told us that you can have a filter here. So, and he installed one filter there into the tank, and then he later on came to us, do we want to have also a filter from the tank to the house? Of course we want to have that. So we have now two filters, one from the well to the tank and another one from the tank to the house. So if something would happen that there's a frog again in the tank.
And was it also?
But they think that, it's not so important. So you can live without a filter. So water is coming and so on. But you really need to be careful and see that. And it's also basically in Paraguay a situation that the people tend to buy the cheapest parts and then they go broke. So it's better to buy originals if you want to have good quality.
Really good
so
one
you need to
already
be careful that you don't buy the cheapest one, which is really in a couple of months broke again.
And you raise a good point about when you build, there's actually other experts involved in a build, plumbers and electricians in particular.
Yeah.
Did your builder source those tradesmen for you, or do you have an understanding of their history? Have you checked them out?
We didn't check them out, so our construction company, they organized all these plumbers and electricians and
Carpenters.
So it was basically the package. And also we needed to make a small road to the construction site in the beginning, so they organized that, also cleaned up the construction site from the trees and bushes, and so they have actually done everything, so they know how it works here.
Well, given the standard that your builder is adhering to, I imagine that he'll be using similarly skilled tradesmen for those other things, so that's a good assurance that you've had someone like your builder to select some better tradesmen than perhaps sometimes you can get, because things like plumbing and electrical work, that's something that can really sneak up on you in Paraguay, isn't it? Because there's no real clear-cut standards.
Yeah.
And our constructor gives us a 1-year guarantee. So when he has chosen the people, then he can be responsible for the work. When he chooses the plumber and then the water system goes broke, it's his responsibility to repair it. But
The guarantees are quite unusual in Paraguay, at least among the Paraguayan companies. So if you choose the German company here, so you might have 5 years guarantee or even 10 years guarantee. So once you make this request for proposal to the different companies, so you can also consider this one. So whether it's important for you or not.
So you've got a year guarantee on your...
Yeah. But you can get a bigger, longer one too. So if you want, but we thought that 1 year is enough for us at this point of time, and we probably are going to experience the biggest problems in the beginning.
Are you on a shared water supply?
This village has a shared well, and we have the connection to this well. And our house is a bit higher than the village itself, so we use the motors to get the water to the house. But in the future we might have our own well, so it's not that expensive here, to my knowledge, to have it. So just in case, so especially if we are going to have a pool in the future, so then it's important.
We don't want to empty the whole well of the village, and then all the other people don't have any water when we are swimming in our own pool.
That wouldn't go down well.
Yeah. So there are people having their animals here. They need also water, and so if we are having a big pool or some, so it's better to have our own well.
And you also ran your electricity supply up to your land,
Yeah.
and you had to put in poles and infrastructure.
Yeah. So it was organized by this electrician who is doing also the electricity work for our house. So they organized everything. So together with Ande, and put the poles and so on. So
and the poles are now our property.
Oh, good.
So if you want to sell them later, then we can do that.
See.
And then the next step is now to get the internet connection. So.
And is that single phase or 3-phase power?
We have single phase power.
Okay.
So the 3-phase is optimal here in the area, but in this area they are using this single phase.
And single phase is sufficient to run a house and
You need to have
appliances.
this kind of this. I can't remember this big thing that which is giving you more power. This separator or something like that.
Divider.
So divider, yeah, which is giving you more power. So you are not having this small power source in the for your house, so you can have them more.
And of course we need to think about solar power or some other replacement if there is a power shortage. Because when it's raining heavily or something else happens, then we have some breaks.
So would you have a generator, you think, or something like that? Or
It's we are thinking about a diesel generator in the beginning, but then in the future probably we are going to have batteries, really good batteries, so we can store the electricity there for a couple of days. So it's more expensive, but it doesn't take much place in your house. And then the solar panels in the future. So we have these future plans there. But a generator at the first time it's fine, but I would prefer even these batteries, so they are not so loud. So
have you looked into solar here in Paraguay?
Not yet. So it's but it shouldn't be that expensive. So otherwise you can order from overseas.
And you have a lot of sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not now, but in the all other.
Because power is so cheap here, as you say, some people just opt to use the power, charge their batteries on the power, and when it goes out, you've got battery power.
Yeah, but the electricity in general is cheap. So that is why probably that people are not having solar panels here. But it's a good backup plan in the future.
You're intending to have a pool. That'll be nice. I think every house in Paraguay should have a pool. Have you made any inquiries about what sort of pool you're going to put in?
We have made we have had some contacts with the pool constructors, and we have also met people who have built pools here in their gardens, and it's important. It's important that you find the right person who is doing this and has experience and has quality.
Yes.
So has even quality guarantee.
Yeah.
And we know one example that one guy let one construction company build a pool for himself. This construction company claimed that they had 17 years experience, but after half a year, this guy who wanted to have this pool, so he needed to rebuild it, and he didn't have any contact anymore with this construction company, so they didn't reply to his messages and so on. So it's better to pay more and have then a good quality and a good reputation, a company with a good reputation to build your pool.
It's not the first time we've heard that story. Pools and things like electric gates, those sort of things, you can often find people that will come out, take your money, maybe do a bit of work and then not finish the job.
Yeah, they know they know everything here, so there are people who don't have any profession, but they know how to do it.
Of course, building a bigger pool is a really challenge because the sand is pretty loose. So when it's raining, the sand just goes like that.
Yes.
And they say that the maximum length for a pool is 16 meters.
Okay.
Or something. 22 might be possible, but it's really expensive and really hard to make.
It is something that you really need to think about. They're the sort of add-ons that, if you're not really thinking, they're the sort of things that could sneak up on you and really bite you on the butt in terms of mistakes. Yeah. Your experience has been really positive. In retrospect, is there anything that you would advise somebody who's thinking about going on the building adventure in Paraguay? Is there something that you've learnt or that you wish you had have done better or differently?
Well, now when I'm thinking about it, we made the plan more or less ourselves. We got some help from the Paraguayan architect, but I think that for the windows and doors and electrical plans and so on, it would have been wise to have some professional help. But it's okay, and I think it's going to function fine how we made it. But I had some insecurities, and of course here you can change things. Like for example, we had decided that the size of the window is going to be this and that, and the height is that, and then we noticed when the construction was going on that it doesn't work that way. So we said that okay, please add one more layer of bricks there, and they just did it. So I think in Western countries that would be quite unusual. Just to decide in between.
That would be a big hassle. You'd have to contact the authority and see if you're allowed to do that.
What I would do it in another way now. So I would actually fix the well right in the beginning on the terrain, and we decided to use this common well here, and it was not that cheap actually to build a 300 meters pipe to the house. And when I compare this price with having an own well, so the difference is a bit, a couple of thousands of euros more having your own well. So it would have been worth to have that instead of using the common well. But now we have the pipeline there, and we need to just accept this small mistake.
Yeah, but I guess it's made good relations with the community.
Yeah, it is. We know the people now, and might be so that we need to put the their well on our land sometime in the future. So we have in a small spot of land for them. So since they have some problems with the water pressure here, the well is too low here. So and we have our terrain a bit higher than the village itself. So it helps them. It's a good point anyway, so that they know that we try to be good members of the village.
And just in regards to your move to Paraguay, how are you feeling about the country? How are you feeling about the move that you've made? Has it been something that you've ever thought twice about, or is it just better than what you thought?
It's a good question. Paraguay is not Thailand, or it's not Brazilian beaches, and so before I came here, so I didn't have any kind of feeling that now Paraguay to paradise, and so that was quite good actually. So I didn't have any bigger expectations, and I like to be here, and people are nice, and I like the sky in Paraguay. It's green here. There's no sea here, but it's a kind of, I feel myself good here. So I don't have such a feeling that I want to go back to Europe or so. But it's good that if you don't have these expectations in the beginning that you are coming to paradise. So then you're just a kind of, okay, this is another place where you are just living.
Or it depends what is your paradise. So people are really, really friendly, and I like it's developing country, so you have this nice atmosphere. It's all the time something is going on, and people are building, and you see the development and how it goes further, and that's why I think people are also quite excited and alive. And especially when I compare to Europe, where we came from, the atmosphere was pretty tense there. And only when you come here, you realize that it's been really tough. So when we came here to apply for the cedula, it took 4 days from me to relax and to notice that it's quite okay here, because I had been so tense in Germany. We lived in Germany for 11 years, even though we are Finnish.
And it really is like you've slipped through a wormhole coming to Paraguay in terms of the sentiment, the feeling. As you say, it's a very positive vibe here generally. Yeah. It's a young country.
People, young people. So it's a big difference when you go to Europe, or I don't know about Australia, but you see this demographics in Europe. Europe is getting older, having also ethnic problems in the future. So So here it's a quite homogenic population and a lot of young people. So it's a kind
The
of big
biggest
difference, yeah.
biggest age group is people from 0 to 4.
It's a young country, isn't it? It's really lovely.
Yeah, a lot of children.
I think that Paraguay has really benefited from people like yourself coming, because you're awesome. We really appreciate our friendship that we've made with you guys over a relatively short space of time, but we look forward to spending much more time with you guys,
Yeah,
particularly once you
me
get your
too.
pool. You won't be able to get rid of us.
Yeah, you're welcome. It takes a while anyway, so we need to survive without a pool for over 1 year anyway. So, but it's in the plans. It's
Yeah.
better to take eat asado and so on in the next months once we leave them.
And once you are in a position where you're ready to maybe think about dividing off some land, I'm sure people that would be watching this video would prick up about the possibilities there, so we can find a way for people to make contact with us, or we can leave a contact number for you guys.
Yeah, that's a fine, and people can before we have done anything, so people are welcome to visit us and see how we are living here and so on. So if somebody is coming to Paraguay, so please come and pay a visit to us.
What a great advantage to see how you've actually built. You've made all those connections and you've gone through that path. So that's really a tremendous potential feature for anyone that perhaps might like to buy some land from you or somehow become involved in that, because those things are things that you've already done. So
Yeah.
you've made contact with a good builder and tradesman.
Yeah, we know some builders here, so it's kind of can give some tips how to proceed and.
And now we know where you can find materials.
So in Paraguay, the good thing is when you are building the house, so that labor is cheap. So it's more or less the materials which are costing you money, and but they are also cheaper than in Europe, except if you buy some imported stuff. But that material which is produced in Paraguay is of course cheaper, and the labor it's sometimes really nice to ask somebody to work for you, so that when you don't need to pay that much like back home.
Thanks again for taking the time. If anyone's looking to perhaps see how things are progressing, as I say, they can make contact with us, or perhaps we'll leave contact details and we can go from there. But
Yeah, that's
Welcome
fine.
to Paraguay.
So
yeah,
come and visit us, so then we can talk more.
great. Well, thanks again, and until next time, take care.
Okay.
Ciao.
See
Thanks.
you.